The last time we launched a challenge funnel for this client, we generated $113,000 in a 7-day period. That challenge was back in August. We have another challenge for this client in December, and we plan to double the revenue that we did the last time. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 10 things that we are trying to do for this upcoming challenge that will allow us to double the revenue. So just to walk you through the numbers that we got the last time. Last time we spent $15,000 on ads. We had 2,400 leads. We had a cost per lead of about $6, which is really, really impressive. We sold 122 challenge tickets. We converted at 4.9%. And before the challenge even started, we were already profitable because we sold $19,000 worth of challenge tickets. So going into the challenge, we were already profitable by $4,000. And then during the challenge, we sold 15 spots in the client's mentorship offer. So the client has an offer of $8,000. We had some payment plans come in and we converted at about 12%. So cash collected upfront was $60,000. And then over the next 2 months or so, the remaining cash has already come in because the challenge was in August, September, October. The rest of the cash will come in this month. So just to show you this is legit, there's actually a video case study on this channel with me and the client having an interview. So if you check the video on this channel, you'll find a video interview with me and the clients just to show you that this is actually legit. So 10 things that we are trying to implement to double the revenue from the upcoming challenge. The first thing is we are going to introduce a challenge host. So the idea of a challenge host has worked really, really well for our other clients. And why challenge hosts are extremely important is it allows the challenge authority, which is the client in this case, to be seen as more of an authority. Because there's a host that introduces people, there's a host that introduces the client herself, and then when she shows up as a more authoritative figure. And for her to know, like, and trust you, and if you want to increase your challenge conversion rate, you want to make people know, like, and trust you as much as possible. That is literally a common marketing terminology, and I'm sure you've heard that a billion times. So for this client, one of the ways we are trying to increase that trust factor is to introduce a host. Can we do the challenge without a host? Definitely, but having a host just makes it so the client is seen more as an authority, especially because we are running paid ads. These people are coming in completely cold. So every single leverage point that we can add to make it so the client is seen as more of an authority will truly, truly help us increase our conversion rate. The next thing is celebrity interviews. So in the last challenge, we only interviewed our previous students, but this time we want to introduce celebrity interviews. And the reason why we are adding this is because this allows the prospects or the customers on the challenge to see a different perspective of the same thing. So I learned this from Jeremy Ins, and a lot of the tactics I'm going to show you here came from Jeremy Ins. So shout out to Jeremy Ins. And he basically explains this as, I have this pen here, and via the video, you can just see the front of the pen. Like from my side, I can see another side of the pen. If someone is looking at this from the top, they can see another side of the pen. So we all have different perspectives, but we are still seeing the same pen. So if you can bring someone else to your challenge to give a different perspective about the same thing, it will help you appeal to a different segment of the audience and will potentially increase the conversion rate for the client. So this time around, we've asked the client to find celebrities in the niche that can come in, she can interview them, and they'll give a different perspective on the exact same topic. So the next thing would be the idea of the pre-pitch, the pitch, and the re-pitch. So the last challenge that we did, we just had the pitch alone. So we followed the regular pitch framework where we spoke about what is included, some case studies, we added some closes into it, and so on and so forth. But this time around, we want to introduce the pre-pitch and the re-pitch. And the pre-pitch is basically a 30-minute segment where you talk about the conditions that allow your students to win. So you basically compare the qualities of people who succeed and those who don't. You can pull up a student's picture and say, this student had all these qualities, and these were all the qualities that made her successful, and compare that to the qualities of those who don't succeed. This would pre-frame the prospects and make it so that they are willing to take actions that will make it more likely for them to succeed. So obviously, some of those things could be taking action quickly, right? Being able to take risk, being fearless, and so on and so forth. So you want to list out the qualities of your most successful students, and then you want to compare that to the students who don't succeed, and try and show them that if you want to succeed, you have to act like these successful students, and then make sure the qualities that you list out are in alignment with qualities that will make it more likely for them to purchase. So it's basically a 30-minute segment where you try and achieve this goal. Then there's the re-pitch. So the re-pitch is very similar to the pre-pitch, but this time it's more direct and more straight to the point, where you're calling out those qualities and telling them, yesterday I told you this was a quality of a successful person. If you haven't still joined the program, then what are you waiting for? Are you trying to say you don't want to have these qualities of a successful person, and so on and so forth? That's basically the idea behind it. So you're basically listing out the qualities of your most successful students, comparing that to the qualities of those who do not succeed, and trying to show them that if you act in the way of the students who succeed, you would succeed so as well. And obviously, some of those qualities will be taking action, being fearless, and so on and so forth. The next thing is a pretty obvious one, which is the easiest thing to do in all of this, and that's basically to double the ad spend. So the last time we spent $15,000, we were profitable by $4,000 before we started the challenge. This time around, we are trying to spend at least $35,000 to $40,000 on ads, just so if we double the ad spend, we double the number of challenge ticket sales. If everything else stays the same, we would still hit our goal. But because we like to go the extra mile and we can see where there are so many things that we can still improve, that's why we are doing all these other things. In an ideal world, we'll just double the ad spend and do nothing else. But to double the ad spend, obviously we'll need more creatives. We will need to test a lot more things. We'll need to test a lot more things on the opt-in page and so on and so forth. But the big idea here is if we only double the ad spend, we'll pretty much hit the goal. But we want to make sure it is inevitable that we hit the goal. That's why we are doing all these other things that I'm going to show you here in this video. The next thing is the idea of sales ads and reminder ads. So one thing we didn't do before for this client was sales ads and reminder ads. So sales ads are basically ads that you run to people who have purchased tickets or people who have signed up for your webinar to try and get them to take the action that you wanted them to take during the challenge or during the webinar. So for example, if I have a challenge and I have an 8K program, on the back end of that challenge, my sales ads will be focused on trying to get people who have purchased tickets to purchase the mentorship offer. So I'll remind them about the bonuses. I'll remind them about the offer, the deadline, and so on and so forth. So this is a different way to remind prospects about the deadline, about the bonus, and so on and so forth. Reminder ads also work the same. It will help you improve your show rate because some people might not check their emails, they might not see their text messages, but they scroll their Instagram feed every single day. So they are more likely to see reminder ads reminding them to actually show up for the challenge. The next thing we have here is to optimize the challenge content. So the way our challenge works, we give every single person who attends the challenge what we call a feedback form. And on the back of this feedback form is where they get their challenge bonuses. So we have a very high compliance rate on this feedback form. So this feedback form allows us to get feedback from every single challenge that we run, meaning for subsequent challenges, the process starts to compound because we are getting feedback and we are improving the content based on the feedback that we are getting. So we always review the feedback from start to finish, and we take the feedback from that to improve the next challenge. So we are basically going to do the exact same thing for this client. The next thing is the payment structure. So this time around, we want to structure the payments in a way where we can collect as much cash as possible upfront. So last time we had a 7997 pay in full, and then we just split that into two, split that into three, and that's basically how we were able to create the offer. And we saw a lot of people take us up on the payment plans, but I know if we had framed that differently, we would have sold a lot more paid in fulls and would have collected a lot more cash upfront. So this time around, we would pitch the pay in full solo, try and get as many people as possible to join, and then the payment plans will be payment plans where if they pay a 3-part payment, for example, the total will end up being like 9K or like 8.5K, just to encourage more people to pay the paid in full so we can collect more cash upfront. Obviously, this was still cool. We still converted a lot of people, but if we're able to collect more cash upfront, we can roll that back into ad spend much quicker and basically do a challenge the following month or the month after that, and so on and so forth. So we always want to try and collect as much cash upfront as humanly possible. Next thing here is challenge alumni discount. So this was a test that we ran for one of our other clients, and we found that if you pretty much offer your challenge offer to everyone who has bought challenge tickets before in the past, you will get people who have bought tickets before who would convert this time, who didn't convert the last time. So our goal is to get as many people as possible who have bought tickets before to attend the next challenge. And this also creates this compounding effect where the more challenges you do, the more likely it is that you sell more and more and more spots in your high ticket offer. So we basically created a coupon code for prospects who have bought challenge tickets before. We're basically going to get them free access to general admission tickets and $97 off for VIP tickets. This way, a lot of people who have bought tickets before can join this new challenge, go through the experience again, and make it more likely that we convert a lot more people. So we've tested this, and we tend to see that people from previous challenges tend to always buy from future ones. The next one is indoctrination email and ads. So this is just creating more touch points, because the more touch points the prospects have before they come on the challenge, the more likely it is that they are going to purchase the actual challenge tickets. That's why you would see that your VIP customers would purchase more than people who are not VIP customers in the challenge, because you just have more touch points. So prior to this, we've always used our emails and text messages for purely reminders. Just basically telling them, oh, the challenge starts in 3 days, challenge starts in 2 days, challenge starts in 1 day, and so on and so forth. But this time around, we want to add value dense emails. So we have a lot more touch points, value dense emails that overcome beliefs, break their limiting beliefs, address objections, provide value, and so on and so forth. We are going to have a lot of these going out to these prospects about 14 days before the challenge starts. We're going to send about 2 emails a day, just providing value to this prospect. So by the time they come on the challenge, we've broken a lot of their beliefs already, and it just makes it much more easier for them to actually convert during the challenge, because we've sent them so much value prior to the challenge that they feel more comfortable, they trust the client a lot more, and they have less beliefs and less objections to the topic that we are trying to teach them during the challenge. And then follow-up focus. So we found that people who apply and people who purchase VIP tickets are usually the ones who purchase the mentorship offer. So the last time we were very spread thin with our follow-up post challenge, our manual follow-up now, because we do normal email follow-up, normal SMS follow-up, and so on and so forth. But we're very stretched thin with our manual follow-up. So this time around, we're just going to focus on those people who are most likely to purchase the mentorship offer. And that is usually the VIP people and those who apply. And we'll double down and try and follow up with those people as many times as possible. So these are basically the 10 things that we are trying to implement this time around to double the results for this client, to sell 30 spots in a mentorship offer, and to help her generate at least $236,000 from our next challenge. So that's pretty much it. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, or leave a comment if you have questions, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.